who's actually going to get the most out of a high-end electric lift massage table, and who would be better off putting their money toward a simpler portable pad. If you're on the fence about spending a few $100s on a piece of equipment that's supposed to make every client feel like they're floating on a cloud, you're not alone. I get the hesitation. Buying the wrong table can mean a clunky setup, wasted floor space, or even an extra strain on your own back if the adjustments aren't smooth. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. Let's break down what the Master Massage 30-inch MaxKing Comfort electric lift table actually offers in a real-world setting, and whether that promise of comfort translates into everyday value. First off, the biggest decision point for most buyers is whether they need an electric lift at all. The MaxKing's foot pedal actuator lets you raise or lower the surface from a low 24 inches up to a comfortable 35 inches without breaking a sweat. In a busy clinic, that means you can slide a client in, hit the pedal, and have the table at the perfect ergonomic height for your hands in a fraction of a second. I've seen a few therapists talk about the time they spend manually adjusting a hydraulic table each client. Those minutes add up, especially when you're booked back-to-back. The electric lift eliminates that micropause, which can keep the flow of a session smoother and reduce wear on your own shoulders. That said, the lift mechanism is also the part that adds weight and complexity. The table itself tips the scales at about 200 pounds, so while the 4 lockable casters make it rollable, you're still dealing with a fairly solid piece of steel. If you're a mobile therapist who loads gear into a van every day, you'll need to factor in that heft. It's not something you can toss onto a roof rack and forget about. The casters do lock, which is great for stability when you're in a permanent studio, but on uneven pavement they can feel a bit stiff. In short, the lift is a huge win for stationary setups, but it's a trade-off for anyone who needs true portability. Now onto the comfort side. The 3.5-inch Cloudysoft sponge system. This isn't just a thin padding, it's a multi-layer small cell foam that gives a plush feel while still providing enough support for a client who's lying flat for an hour. The PU upholstery is marketed as oil and water resistant, which matters if you're working with clients who use lotions, essential oils, or even just sweat a lot during a deep tissue session. In my own experience with a comparable foam thickness, the difference shows up when you're transitioning from a quick chair massage to a full-body stretch. The client stays comfortable longer, and you don't have to keep readjusting the position because the surface is sagging. One practical scenario that brings the foam to life is a prenatal massage. Expectant mothers need a table that can accommodate a growing belly without the client feeling like they're sinking too far. The extra 3.5 inches of cushioning distributes weight more evenly, making it easier to find a comfortable position for both the client and the therapist. On the flip side, if you're primarily using the table for short, targeted treatments, think sports injury taping or a quick chair massage, the added thickness can feel a little excessive. You might prefer a thinner surface that gets you closer to the client's muscles without the bounce of a deeper foam. Another point that often gets overlooked is the frame's durability. The heavy-duty steel construction is welded rather than bolted, which gives it a solid, non-wobbling feel once the casters are locked. In a high-traffic clinic where tables get moved between rooms and sometimes even knocked around during equipment rearrangements, that rigidity can save you from costly repairs. However, the steel does mean the table isn't as easy to store in a cramped corner. You'll need a dedicated space of at least the table's footprint, 30 by 73 inches, plus a little room to maneuver the foot pedal and the casters. If you're operating out of a small home office or a shared studio, that footprint could be a deal breaker. Let's talk price versus what you actually get. The MaxKing sits in the upper mid-range for electric lift tables, and that price reflects the combination of the lift system, the foam, and the steel frame. For a therapist who sees 5 to 6 clients a day, the time saved on adjustments can translate into an extra appointment or 2 each week, potentially paying for the table in a few months. If you're a hobbyist who does occasional massages on friends or family, you might not recoup that investment for years, and a basic hydraulic or manual table could serve you just fine. So who should walk away? If you're on a shoestring budget, you'll probably find more bang for your buck in a manual adjustment table that still offers decent foam. If you're a mobile therapist who